Manam Volcano erupts again. Banana farmers urged to grow pest-resistant species. And Education Department launches seminar series to learn.
This is National EMTV News with Helen Sayer.
Good evening and thanks for joining us for Saturday's news. Staff of the Department of Education will now have an opportunity to share knowledge and express views on policies and learn from each other. This comes after the launching of the Education Seminar Series on Thursday. Education Secretary Dr. Uke Kombra, while launching the seminar series, said for an organization to progress, individuals in the organization must learn.
The Education Seminar Series is part of the Education Department's process of consultation and discussion of policies. Dr. Kombra said the seminar series provides an opportunity for the staffs within the Education Department to share knowledge and experiences which will help education development in the country.
And some of this groundbreaking research that we do and new knowledge that we have found in our research, we're not sharing this knowledge with the others so that we can all grow as one organization and progressing. So this is a very unique, not unique, but it's a very special, significant opportunity we have to share that knowledge amongst our colleagues and our friends.
He said the Education Seminar Series was actually planned years back, however did not eventuate. He was grateful that the department revived it. He explained that discussions and debates made in the seminars will help them implement better policies to achieve better outcomes in education.
So I would really see this as an opportunity for our officers through the rank and file to come to share knowledge, to express their views on certain policies that we have, and make a contribution that will have a very important impact on what we do for our country.
The first series of the seminar is planned to begin next week, and interested candidates can submit research papers and topics to discuss in the seminar. Rayon Lakingu, National EMTV News.
Farmers in Morabe are being encouraged to plant new disease-resistant varieties of banana tested by the National Agricultural Research Institute, ONARI, in Leh. Plant stocks from Ecuador have been found to be resistant to the black singer-tocker disease, which kills the plant's ability to photosynthesize. While new varieties are being released to farmers, NARI continues to face the challenge of getting farmers to stop sharing planting materials that may already have the disease.
Papua New Guinea, bananas are the second most important food crop to the sweet potato. According to the National Agriculture Research Institute, there are at least 800 varieties native to Papua New Guinea. In recent years, various members of the banana family have been hit by diseases, including one in particular that affects the plant's ability to grow. The black singer-tocker disease affects the leaves of the plants, making it difficult for the plants to photosynthesize.
Plant size and the size of the banana finger or the fruit will diminish, will go down, and therefore the yield of the bunch will drop.
Black singer-tocker is contagious and easily spread when farmers share planting material. Battling plant diseases has not been easy. Much of the work is done in laboratories, and not many people get to appreciate that it takes years before a crop variety is released into the community.
If, however, you use clean planting materials that do not have the disease anymore, have been cleaned out, then you can take to a new area and plant, and you will achieve the yields that you used to have.
The process of testing also involves bringing in new plant stock from other countries. These banana varieties are from Ecuador in South America. They've proven to be disease resistant, and most of those varieties are now being given to farmers to plant. Scientists here say any plant disease should be taken seriously as it stands to affect PNG's food security. Scott Wide, National EMTV News, Leh.
The drop in water levels at the Sepik River is posing a threat on food supply for people in the Wasaragawi and Ambunti Drekikea districts. The Sepik River is the main source of food for villagers in 3 districts in East Sepik. It also acts as the main transport route for the Sepik people. Aaron Malingi, a ward councillor at Palimbe in Wasaragawi, says the dry season should have ended in June. However, it is continuing into August. Much of the smaller waterways have dried up, making it impossible for locals to travel up the villages which are linked to the Sepik River through these waterways. Councillor Malingi says the drop in water levels has also affected classes in Kapai Mari Primary and the transportation of medical supplies to health centres along the river. This is National EMTV News. Stick around. We have more of the day's other stories on the other side of these messages. Welcome back. 27 volunteers in Rigo district of Central Province have received training on how to lead reading clubs for elementary students. The training, provided by Child Fund PNG, aims to encourage students to read and boost students' literacy skills through structured plays and reading opportunities. Bala Namara, a Sunday school teacher from Gaba Gaba village, was pleased to receive the training. Bala said most students cannot read properly and the establishment of such community-based projects will help them learn to read. Child Fund PNG is a partner in the Together for Education project led by World Vision. It is supported by the Australian government. Provincial government authorities in Madang have sent teams to Manam Island to assess the damage done by a volcanic eruption early this morning. Residents on the island said they heard an explosion, which was followed by a large plume of smoke and ash which blanketed the island and blocked out sunlight for at least 4 hours.
Early this morning, the Manam Volcano erupted once again. This is the second time in a space of a year that this volcanic island has come alive. This image was sent earlier. It shows the explosion as it happened. From Bogia on the mainland, police officers from Lay's Sector Patrol Unit sent this image. They also reported that ashfall had blocked out the morning sunlight. James Sukua, a Manam Islander currently in Madang, called home and was told at least one house had collapsed in his Baliao village. 2 others had been destroyed by lava flow. No casualties so far.
6 a.m. long morning. Heavy pressure long volcano. Emi ko antap mo na dusty karamabim mo all get island. All entire island. So long 6 going up long 7 o'clock or some 1 hour. Big pla dusty karamapim. Yeah. So place osem Baliao, Boda, Bieng station Kulguma, this lap and first time me ringim online lo place na oli toksabelo mi osem madi walk long pundan lo this la rain na dust one time walk lo pundan.
These are the first aerial pictures sent to EMTV by WhatsApp. It shows the continuing ashfall near the crater. On the other side of the island, the advancing lava flow. The provincial administration has deployed officers from Bogia district to the island to assess the damage.
Team from Bogia, public servants and police are now on ground. Manam, giving update. We are also communicating with the Kokorais, Council of Manam, giving more information on what has happened and what is happening.
Volcano lava flow go down benim this labarity go down now online long kolang na dangali walk long move go down. You go down the 1 basis long dangale.
Additional support is being mobilized from Port Moresby and Ley. The Prime Minister has been informed of the disaster. Another team from Madang will travel early tomorrow morning to Bogia, then onwards to Manam. Scott Waide, National EMTV News, Madang.
You're watching Saturday's news. After the break, we take a look at what's making headlines overseas. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the news. Turning overseas, just hours before the Pope is due to arrive in Ireland for the first papal visit in 40 years, the Irish Prime Minister has said he's glad that the Catholic Church isn't as prominent there as it once was. Abuse, scandals and recent social changes have seen a large drop in church attendance in Ireland.
Bishops and priests are not usually pounding the turf at Leinster Rugby Ground. But as Ireland prepares to welcome Pope Francis, it's also hosting this global gathering of Catholics. An altar has been built along the touchline, but that's as nothing compared to the challenge of reconstructing the church after decades of scandal.
A lot of the pain and the hurt that we thought we were moving on from has resurfaced, particularly for people who were hurt by clergy in the church.
Phoenix Park, another venue, has been under construction for months. The Catholic Church and the Irish government are spending more than £27 million to host Pope Francis. The highlight of this weekend's visit will be here on Sunday, when Pope Francis celebrates Mass. 500,000 tickets have been issued. So will Ireland feel like it did the last time the Pope was in town? 1979, and Pope John Paul II was greeted by the largest gathering of Irish people in history. Back then, almost 90% of Catholics attended weekly Mass. Contraception, abortion and divorce were against the law. Now, all three are legal, and church attendance is down to 40%. Are you glad that the church is having less of a dominant effect?
The short answer is yes. I think in the past the Catholic Church had too much of a dominant place in Irish society. I think it still has a place in Irish society, but not one that determines public policy.
Judging by trade in the exhibition hall, the Catholic Church is pinning its hopes on the popularity of Pope Francis.
This is the best one.
He remains the star attraction
of the church.
But unless it can convince the world that it has changed, then the future of the Roman Catholic Church in Ireland will continue to be overshadowed by its past.
One of New Zealand's rarest seabirds is in danger. The number of king shags, which live only in one area of New Zealand, has plummeted in recent years, and that has sparked an urgent tagging program to find out why.
A rare chance to hold a vulnerable seabird. 11 king shag chicks and one adult tagged for the first time at Tawhiti Nui Island.
It was thought to be quite a sensitive bird, and so there was a lot of reluctance to do any banding of it, but we really needed to learn more about it.
The Marlborough Sounds are home to the king shag, and 3 years ago an aerial survey was carried out which counted a total of 830 birds in the area. But in this year's survey that dropped by 200 birds.
While, we are concerned that there's such a big decline, we would certainly like to get longer-term trend data, at least another 3 or 4 years, I think, to see whether this is part of a steady decline down, which would be terrible if it is, or whether they just fluctuate in numbers.
It's also possible human activity in the Sounds is to blame.
The marine farms do occupy space, and underneath them, the habitat may not be suitable for king shag, so that has been one of the main concerns in the marine consent hearings.
The problem is at the moment is we don't know if we are causing a problem or not.
So marine farmers have teamed up with dock and wildlife specialists to monitor the birds.
What we want to try and ascertain is some really good scientific data around not only how many birds are around, but also where those birds are interacting, how far their flights are, where we see them.
Local ecotourism operators will be watching with interest, having tried to raise the king shag's profile.
I've been watching these birds daily for 10 years, every day. And really the significance they hold for us, both nationally and locally, we should put a lot more effort in to make sure that they are sustainable for the future and their numbers don't decrease.
12 birds now carrying the hopes of their species.
It's billed as one of the biggest events in internet history. Controversial YouTuber Logan Paul will battle it out in the boxing ring against rival KSI in Manchester tomorrow. The bout is said to earn the online entertainers millions of dollars.
Two of the biggest YouTube stars taking their online rivalry into the boxing ring.
Can't wait to punch you right in your stupid smug face.
Britain's KSI and his American opponent, Logan Paul, each have almost 20 million subscribers, predominantly teenage boys attracted by their mix of comedy, bad language and hostility towards other YouTube stars. Despite not being professional boxers, tomorrow night both are said to make seven-figure sums in a pay-per-view fight broadcast live, not on satellite TV, but on YouTube.
A lot of people watching this fight are very young. How good a role model are you?
I never like people calling me a role model. Like, I'm not a role model, I'm just a guy that does things on the internet.
But Logan Paul is the baddie of the piece after causing global outrage earlier this year by filming the body of an apparent suicide victim in a Japanese forest.
I've made a severe and continuous lapse in my judgment, and I don't expect to be forgiven. I'm simply here to apologize.
Today, he made it clear that he's still trying to make amends.
By no means is this fight a redemption for my mistake that happened in January.
This fight also shows the way the entertainment industry is changing. Over the last decade, YouTube stars have worked out how to monetize their huge online following. This is taking it to a different level.
This is an audience who are used to not paying. It's a pay-per-view event tomorrow, so live numbers, we're expecting it to be huge, but over the period of time of the content, it will run to hundreds of millions of impressions.
No matter who loses, both are said to be winners. A rematch in the USA is already scheduled.
It wasn't quite the Winter Games organisers were hoping for, with the ski field in New Zealand buried in the clouds. Windy conditions also meant the Games were postponed.
Not ideal conditions on day one, but conditions Olympian Jossie Wells knows all too well.
We're in the high alpine, this is how it goes some days, you know? I mean, if it wasn't days like this, then we wouldn't actually have snow on the ground, so...
Wells is commentating this year's Games as he recovers from a leg injury that kept him out of the Pyeongchang Winter Olympics, and he's taking his recovery slowly.
From sitting on the couch, not being able to do anything, to then being able to walk with my brace on, then walk with no crutches, then first time you get a leg around on a bike, and every time there's all these little steps all the way, and they're little wins, and that's what kind of keeps me going.
Olympic bronze medalist Nico Porteous will be on the slopes and says the excitement's building in Wanaka.
It has a cool sense of like a competition atmosphere around the whole town. It reminded me a lot of the Olympics.
The condition's much better though in downtown Wanaka, so we followed Nico to his training base, where he's learning some of his newest tricks.
Just trying to add a few spins here and there and a few different grabs.
It's been a busy 6 months for the 16-year-old, from schoolwork.
So I'm trying to cram a whole year into 4 months, so it's hard, but I'm working hard and I'm getting through it.
To getting his own wheels.
Oh yeah, got my restricted license, bought myself a car.
How'd the test go?
Yeah, good. Passed first try, no mistakes, only one critical error.
He'll compete next week at the Games before jetting off to Switzerland for further training and competition. The future continuing to shine for the young teenager, even if it's not so bright, up on the mountain.
In the United States, President Donald Trump is bracing for a showdown after some former senior aide pleaded guilty and implicated the president in the alleged payoffs to porn stars.
Remained silent as he left with the First Lady for a speech in Ohio with a growing list of legal worries hot on his tail.
My chief financial officer, Alan Weisselberg.
The latest concern, federal prosecutors have granted immunity to Alan Weisselberg, who once appeared on Mr. Trump's TV show, The Apprentice. But more critically, he's the longtime chief financial officer of the Trump Organization, the president's private company whose finances are cloaked in secrecy. A source on the president's legal team downplayed Weisselberg's cooperation, which could be crucial as prosecutors unravel the plot helmed by Mr. Trump's former personal lawyer, Michael Cohen, to funnel hush money to women alleging affairs with the president. The attorney for one of those women, porn star Stormy Daniels, Michael Avenatti, believes more may be at stake.
The only reason then that they would give immunity to Mr. Weisselberg is if they were looking beyond Michael Cohen. They would need potentially his testimony and cooperation to look at someone else higher up the food chain, if you will. There's only one person that is likely to be, and that is Donald Trump.
Are you a hero? Do you think you're a hero now?
Cohen can be heard on an audio tape obtained by CNN talking to Mr. Trump about Weisselberg. The apparent subject making payments to cover up the president's past behavior.
I've spoken to Alan Weisselberg about how to set the whole thing up with
so what are we going to
funding. Yes. and it's all the stuff.
A big question is how the president decides to respond. He once told the New York Times an investigation that crept into his family's finances would cross a red line.
Mueller was looking at your finances, your family's finances, unrelated to Russia. Is that a red line?
Would that be a breach of what his actual...
I would say yes. Yeah, I would say yes.
Sources tell CNN the president has fumed for months, and even in the last several weeks, that he'd like to fire Attorney General Jeff Sessions. One day after Sessions insisted the Justice Department would remain independent, Mr. Trump appeared to mock that notion, tweeting, "Department of Justice will not be improperly influenced by political considerations. Jeff, this is great, what everyone wants. So look into all the corruption on the other side," adding, "Come on, Jeff, you can do it. The country is waiting."
The president's head of the executive branch, and he decides who serves in his cabinet, and to continue to criticize the attorney general, I think, makes the president appear weak.
One person keeping a safe distance from all the drama, Vice President Pence, who steered clear of Mr. Trump's legal turmoil at a speech in Washington. Instead, Pence advised the crowd to get their news from word of mouth, not the media.
I hold the view that the most powerful media in America is not television news, it's not the internet or social media. I've always believed and still believe that the most powerful media in America has always been and will always be word of mouth.
The president declined to speak to reporters before leaving for Ohio, but the image of his departure did speak volumes. Even amidst all the questions about porn star payoffs this week, First Lady was by the president's side.
And back home now, the United Church in Golubu, Iloilo village in Rigo district had their 14th East Central Papua Region Ministers meeting yesterday. And more than 89 delegates from 20 circuits under the United Church attended. The reception was at Villa Kara Resort in Gaire, where the delegates were welcomed by Men Boy Fellowship and then later left for Golubu. Golubu's Children's Ministry and Women's Fellowship were on hand to warmly welcome them upon arrival, followed by the official address. The program ended with flag raising by the women delegates and welcome speeches by the member for Rigo, Lekwa Gure, and Bishop Cora Taboro. The Education Pacific Agency launched its website and books written by former EPA graduates today. The event also coincided with congratulatory remarks from EPA's director, Jeffers Heptol, to participants who will be departing for China to study through the agency. EPA is an education platform established in 2014 to help young Papua New Guineans and others in the Pacific access scholarships to study abroad.
EPA Director Jeffers Heptol says the agency has a vision to help young individuals who had an interest in studying abroad. He said EPA provides an avenue for helping people achieve their dreams and in turn could contribute to the development of the country. Mr. Heptol said with the new website, those interested would have convenient access to information about the agency.
Our mission is we want to provide a platform for anyone out there that want to access education, either grade 10, grade 11, or grade 12, or even postgraduate studies. We have the platform, we have the scholarships, we have what it takes to be a family and grow our nation economically with human resources.
Since its establishment in 2014, EPA has grown with more than 200 students who've studied abroad in undergraduate and postgraduate studies. A successful recipient for this year, Hazel Siki, says she will be studying under the BBS program in China. For her, this was an unexpected opportunity. She is self-sponsored and is hoping to secure a sponsor during the course of her studies.
It's a good thing that you apply because education is a way to bring exposure and to bring people for you to know outside your environment that you've grown up in and to bring that exposure back into your people and educate them.
Since its establishment, EPA has recommended 15 students to study for postgraduates under full scholarships in various universities in China. It has recruited 113 students to study in various fields under self-sponsorship. More information can be found on EPA's Facebook page on their new website www.epa4u.com. Charlene Airy, National EMTV News.
This is National EMTV News for Saturday. Chukai Sports is up next. Stay tuned for the details.
Chukai Sports.
Welcome to Chukai Sports. The National Women's Rugby League Championships kicked off today at the Oil Search National Football Stadium. The Southern, Northern, Highlands and New Guinea Islands Confederate teams gathered in Port Moresby yesterday.
The first game kicked off at 9 a.m. and saw current champions Southern take on Highlands. This was followed by Northern against NGI. After a 15-minute break, NGI took on Southern while Highlands met Northern. The final round-robin matches had Highlands play NGI, and the last game of the day saw Southern take on Northern. The 4 teams will play against each other in a round-robin format, and the top 2 teams will play in the final tomorrow. This game will be the curtain raiser to the PNG NRLC preliminary final between Wage Tumbe and the Goroka Bintango Lahanis. During this round-robin matches, newly appointed coach of the Oil Search PNG Orchids, David Wesley, and his selectors will be picking players to be named in the Orchid side to take on the Brisbane Broncos women's NRL team next week Sunday. The Oil Search PNG Orchids final team will be announced on Monday. Elijah Levette, National EMTV Sports.
The PNG Kumals play another big test match in October against the Australian Kangaroos. Kumals coach Michael Marum says the team management has been talking to players overseas and have been watching local players for selection for the October clash.
But the Kumals pre-presents are on the way, and we're on track. We're talking to players overseas and also watching local boys. And once we finalize everything, we should put a update out for everyone to see.
Edene Gabi will not play in tonight's SB Hunters clash against the CQ Capras. He's in rehabilitation and will be closely monitored over the next few days.
Edene Gabi has been ruled out with a PCL injury. Coach Michael Marum says it is uncertain if he will be ready by next weekend.
Knee, PCL, so that's not going to allow him to play for this weekend. If he's going to be ready for next week, I'm not too sure. But again, depending on how he goes and looks after himself while we are away, so we will try and engage our medical guys to be with him all throughout the weekend. So yeah.
Willie Minoga has also been ruled out with a groin injury and is also in rehabilitation with Gabi.
Till maybe early next week. Again, when we come back, we'll have to assess him. But we'll have him with the other boys, with the medical guys staying back to make sure monitor them and make sure they're doing the right thing, getting ready for games next weekend.
Butler Morris has been named in the centres for tonight's clash. Morris has not been selected for the past few weeks, but has been playing with the Lace Next Tigers.
He's been training hard too, so he'll come off playing maybe at centres. We'll have to see if we can push Nixon to centre as well. So,
according to Coach Michael Marum, tonight's match is the most important this season and is a must-win for the team to keep their finals hopes alive.
Our last game is away. Again, it's really important game for us. Playing lower sides, they want to cause upsets, so we can't switch off, we can't relax. We got a big job in front of us here.
Adex Wera starts at fullback tonight and plays his 100th game. Marum congratulated Wera for this milestone.
That's where he started playing at fullback, so it's probably good for him to go back and play in that fullback role for his 100. So hopefully it goes well. For him, he's the second player to play 100 games for the club. It's a great achievement for him, a milestone player now, so he's going to join Botovo. So.
Elijah Levette, National EMTV Sports.
Chukai Sports continues with more after these messages. Stay tuned.
Chukai Sports.
Welcome back to Trukai Sports. The National Athletics Championships, which began yesterday at the Sir John Guy's Stadium in Port Moresby, held some final events today. The event is an opportunity for athletes to get selected for next year's Pacific Games in Samoa.
Athletes at this year's Nationals represented 10 provinces in both the track and field events. Among those who attended the events were PNG's elites and the likes of sprint queen Toya Whistle and triple jump star Peniel Richard.
Well, it's always been an open event. Anyone's welcome to come and take part in the championships. We do have under 16 and under 18 divisions to cater for those younger athletes. So yeah, it's open, and this is the national championship, so we want to see the best athletes here.
President Tony Green said this year's Nationals attracted a lot of young and enthusiastic athletes who showed great level of athleticism since day one of the competitions. He says while some of the events held their grand finals today, others will take place tomorrow.
For example, we have the 100 meters today, the 400, we have the men's steeplechase, the 1500 meter finals, we have the high jump for the men in progress, we've had the men's triple jump. Tomorrow we'll have the 200 meters, the 800 meters, the 3000, and we'll have some relays tomorrow too.
Green says with lots of great talent on board, it has made the selection process difficult, but is certain that Athletics PNG will select its best to next year's Pacific Games.
This is a good chance for the up-and-coming athletes to show what they can do and stake a claim for a place in the team next year for the Pacific Games.
Godwin Eki, National EMTV Sports.
Now to some rugby league. The long wait is over. The Warriors are into the NRL playoffs again. They thrashed the Panthers 36-16 at the Mount Smart Stadium to ensure their first playoffs berth in 7 years. It's now just a matter of how high they qualify.
Finally, there's good reasons for celebrations at Mount Smart.
For the first time in 7 years, the Warriors are into the NRL playoffs.
The Warriors thrashing the Panthers in their penultimate round-robin game, ensuring they'll play in the postseason for the first time since 2011.
I was just very pleased, for the lads and for the footy club, people that are coming here to watch us.
It was a performance that may have put other finals-bound teams on notice. 6 tries simply blowing the Panthers away.
This could be a dream start to the second half.
Fusi Tua finished with a hat-trick, taking his season tally to 21, just 2 off the Warriors' record of 23, set by Francis Melly in 2003.
I guess that's a good acknowledgement, but even better to do it with the win.
To add to that, the return of Tohu Harris proved vital, while halfback Sean Johnson looked back to his best, running for 130 metres and setting up one of the Warriors' better tries.
Johnson!
Quite honestly, I thought that was Sean's, best performance of the year. What pleased me most about it was, the way that he defended, to be honest.
It was enough to make under siege Panthers general manager Phil Gould look sick. Just 2 consolation tries, the highlight for him. And while the celebrations are deserved for the Warriors, they have one last game against the Raiders with the slim possibility of making the top 4.
And that ends Trukai Sports. Up next, the weather details for the next 24 hours.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
The weather details were proudly brought to you by Dulux, celebrating 50 years in PNG and the only paint made in PNG.
A look at the weather forecast for this afternoon and tonight. In the southern region, a shower or two in Port Moresby. Fine, although cloudy in Daru, Kerema, Alotau, and rain showers in Popondetta. In the Mamasa region, rain and thunderstorms in Lae, some rain in Wau, rain showers in Wewak and Vanimo, and brief showers in Madang. In the New Guinea Islands region, rain showers in Lorengau, Kavieng, Kokopo, Rabaul and Kimbe, and fine, although cloudy, in Buka. And in the Highlands region, rain drizzles, then morning fog all across the region in Mount Hagen, Goroka, Kundiawa, Mendi and Wabeg. Forecast for small ships for the next 24 hours. Strong wind warning. Current for all coastal waters of eastern and western Milne Bay Islands to Samari Island to Cape Fogo. Waters of southern PNG Indonesian border through Torres Strait and Daru to Kiwai Island to Kerema, to Yule Island and Hood Point to Samari Island, with waters of eastern and western Milne Bay Islands, with waters of Samari Island to Cape Vogel to Finschhafen, including waters of Finschhafen through Vitiaz and Dampier Straits, to Siasi Islands and Long Island, seas of 1 to 1.5 meters. Waters of Long Island to Madang to Bogia and Wewak to Aitape to Vanimo, northern PNG Indonesian border, with waters of West New Britain, seas of 0.5 to 1.5 meters. Waters of Manus and its western group of islands, seas of 0.5 to 1.3 meters. And waters of New Ireland to East New Britain to Bougainville, seas of 0.5 to 1 meter. Ocean forecast for PNG areas in the Coral Sea. Seas moderate with southeast winds at 10 to 15 knots and isolated showers. In the Solomon Sea, seas light northeast to southeast winds at 10 to 15 knots and with isolated showers and thunderstorms. In Bismarck Sea, seas light with east to southeast winds at 10 to 15 knots and isolated showers and thunderstorms. And in the Pacific Ocean, seas slight with east to northeast winds at 10 to 15 knots and isolated showers.
The details were proudly brought to you by Dulux, celebrating 50 years in PNG and the only paint made in PNG.
And before we go, a fitting farewell for NRL great Jonathan Thurston from his home stadium in Townsville, smashing the Eels in the Battle of the Wooden Spooners 44-6. He was escorted into the stadium by his daughters.
For the final time, the 35-year-old, flanked by his beautiful babies Charlie and Frankie. Lily was all tucked up at home. Two-time premiership winner got the send-off he deserved.
Hooper, brilliant! In and under for Gollum Osby. 30 points in 32 minutes. Kick to cup. Coming back. There you go. Black dot stuff from J2. Never India.
It's been an incredible journey and it's been a privilege and an honour to represent this jersey and especially to walk out the tunnel leading the boys.
The win his 100th in Townsville. Thurston's final match will be against the Titans on the Gold Coast next weekend.
And before we go, here's a recap of our top stories. Monon Volcano erupts again. Banana farmers urged to grow pest-resistant species. And Education Department launches seminar series to learn. And that's been the news, sport and weather for today, Saturday 25th of August 2018. Now, stay tuned for the premiere of EMTV's independent special, My Province, My Country, 43 Years On. That's starting this evening at 8 p.m. and you don't want to miss that. Good night.